you have a regular Gemara, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lines down from the wide lines. In the middle wide lines, this very wide lines on the bottom. So a little above, about a quarter of the page down. Amar Rabbi. This is Chafayim and Bais. Rabbi says, Tzaya Bashashis. If there's feces behind glass in a glass container, so Mutalikas Kriya Shema Kenegda, you can read Shema in front of it. The Gemara will explain why. Erva Bashashis, but if there's nakedness behind glass, so Asalikas Kriya Shema Kenegda, you can't read Shema in front of it. Let's see why. Tzaya Bashashis, Mutalikas Kriya Shema Kenegda, if there's feces behind glass, you can't recite the Shema. Because feces is dependent on if it's covered. Okay, and here it's covered, so you got it's covered. It's good. Everybashashes, but nakedness behind glass. Also, the Shema Kenegda, you can't recite the Shema. It says why not? You should not see nakedness. Amar Rachmana, Hashem says, and you're seeing it. So the glass we're referring to is clear glass. That you're seeing it. This is a big discussion about the purpose of a mechitza. You can use glass mechitza. But if you hold that the mechitza and a shul is not for erva, it's just to separate. What's the difference? If it's for erva, then you have a problem there. The glass mechitza doesn't work. You know, the Lincoln Square and all of that. It's a big discussion. Amar Abaya. It's a major machlekes because when you have balconies also, you have the same issue. Is it so you shouldn't see, or is it to separate? You shouldn't see, then you would need a curtain there as well on a balcony.
So what's the glass weird? It's kind of half clear, half wavy.
So it's not clear.
The Rabbi turned around and walked out of 7 the first time he went after.
Because of the and then they darkened the windows. Amar Abaya, we're holding 25b. We just had a statement from Rabbi. Now we have a statement from Abaya. Soya kolshu, a small amount of feces, you can neutralize it, you can nullify it with spit. Amar Rava break ava. Rabbi comments on what Abaya says that it has to be thick spit. It's funny, like how you're getting rid of it covers it over. I guess it's just a little bit. Amarava tzaya beguma. Let's say there's feces in a hole, maybe in the ground. You can put your sandal, your shoe over it.
This is when
it's covered.
There's smell.
So it would be a smell. Then we said we have to go for 4 amas for this.
But if it's dry, it's not.
Right now, if it would be totally dry, it wouldn't be a problem anyway. So. The problem is that it's not covered. So here, your foot is covering it. So Mar Brei Ravina has a question. We said before that his whole body needs to be clean. Right? He davens with his whole body. Now we said that you're allowed to cover feces with a shoe if it's in a hole. This would be by minute right here. Mar Brei Ravina. If the shoe is actually pressed against it, or it's pressed against the shoe, so then he's sort of like touching it, or it's not on his body, but it's on his clothing. So what's the din over there? The Gemara doesn't answer that. Amar Rav Yehuda says, on the side they say it's supposed to be Amar Rava. All right. Akum arum asalikris kriyash makaneglik. If there's a naked non-Jew, you're not allowed to recite the Shema in front of him. I was a little surprised by that. Ma'yer Yaakov, why are you saying about a non-Jew? I feel Yisrael Nami. Even a Jew can't daven in front of a Jew that's naked. So it's Yisrael Pshitale, the Aser. Obviously a Jew not. That was obvious. We didn't have to say. Akum it's Shichle. You have to explain that the non-Jew, an idolater is necessary to say, because I could have thought that it says about an idolater that their flesh is the flesh of donkeys. I could have thought that maybe It's not considered like nakedness. It's just considered like an animal that walks around. The animal that walks around is not considered naked. It's those dogs that have in New York, they have the clothing. They dress them up in coats and all types of stuff. Otherwise, they're not naked. So Kamash Malan, the Chiddush is, Dinanami Yikri Erva. No, a non-Jew is considered naked if he's naked. The Ksiv, the Ervas Avihem Leiro. Look at this pasuk. What's a pasuk from Noach? To tell me that a non-Jew is considered naked. If Noach wasn't Jewish, according to this, and his children, when they covered him over, when Shem and Yafes covered him over, it says that they didn't see his nakedness. They see he's considered naked. Noach is considered naked. The raya that you can't daven in front of a non-Jew that's naked.
It's a right that the concept of nakedness
Applies to him. It says that if someone's in the water, comes time for Shema and he can't get out and get dressed with enough time to recite the Shema. They can say it in the water. However, if the water should not be bad smelling water or water that flax was steeped in it. Actually, until you put water into it, that means to dilute it. The kama maya rami v'asl. How much water rami should you place and go? It's more like a surprise question. It says, how much water can you actually get into Meya Mishra, into mikvah? What are you going to do? You're going to take a cup, you're going to pour it into a mikvah, and you're going to dilute it like that. Yeah, there's a huge, it's like, in a swimming pool, like what's a cup of water going to do? So the Gemara says, Alahachi kamer. No, it's not what the Mishnah means. The comma is in the wrong place. It means like this. Alahachi kamer, mishra klal. The first two cases, you cannot use it all. Meiraglayim. If there is urine, so that how much urine is there? It's that's a small amount. You can dilute it with water, the ikra, and then you can recite the Shema. Yeah. So we had 3 items. We had at the end of it, we said a qualification. We thought the qualification was going on all 3. Turns out it's only going on the last one.
It's interesting. This is like a variation of the last Mishnah before Kash, where they talk about all the things that colors a mikvah. There you talk about the kashrus of the mikvah,
right?
And here you talk about say the kashrus of the man to say Shema. One is for the person, one is for the water.
That's interesting. We start in the Bais. How much water should you put into it? Kolshu. We're talking about the urine. A small amount, and the smallest amount will neutralize the urine, and you'll be allowed to recite the Shema. Reb Zakkai Yomi Revius. Reb Zakkai says you have to put in a Revius, which is like a small kiddush cup. It's a Revius. A few ounces. Amar Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman says Machlekes lebesayf. That machlekes, if the urine is already there, how much water should you add in to neutralize it? But if you start off with just a little bit of water, like in the bucket or whatever they're using has a drop of water already, so then every drop of urine that goes in becomes nullified, drop by drop by drop, nullified. It just keeps getting nullified. So then even Reb Zakkai would agree that it doesn't need to be a revius. Rabbi Yosef says exactly the opposite. Rabbi Yosef machlekes lechatchila. Machlekes, if it needs to be a revius, that's only before you start. One opinion, the first opinion holds that it's even kolshu. Aval lebesayif divrei kol revius. But if you're trying to add afterwards, everyone agrees that it needs to be a revius to neutralize it. Amalei Rabbi Yosef l'shamei, Rabbi Yosef, who just gave us his opinion, he tells to his shamish, his assistant, I see the revius the ma'aker of Zakkai. Bring me a revius like Reb Zakkai holds, and we're talking about that before the urine is there, and because he was passing like the way he meant it. Taner Rabbanan, starting the Bais again. Shall reiv avet shel meiraglayim. This is a chamber pot. Now it's both the same thing, whether it's made for bowel movement or if it's made for urine. and it just gets a different name. Geref or ovid, it's the same thing. It's a chamber pot. So these chamber pots also likers kriya shma kenegda. You can't recite the shema if it's there, if it's in front of you. Bafal pishem bem klum, even if they're empty. Meraglayim atzman. See, it's earthenware, so it absorbs in a way that's not doesn't really get clean. Meraglayim atzman, but if you would have urine in another container or on the floor, you have to add water into it to be able to recite the Shema. How much water do you add in? Kolshel, small amounts.
Toilet, you could say Shema. Have water in it.
What did I just see? Wait till the end of this. Wait till a little bit later. We'll learn something about the Persian toilets. Yeah. So, you have to add water into it. And Rabzaki and Revius. Rabzaki says it has to be a Revius of water. We didn't get into when that Machlekes is. That we mentioned before. Okay, now the Mishnah says, the Bais says a statement that part of it is going to be ambiguous. We're going to need to discuss what the meaning of it is. It goes like this. Bein lefnei amita, bein lachar amita. Doesn't matter where the urine is, if it's behind the bed or if it's in front of the bed. And that's when you need to add water into it. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Aimer lachar amita kaira. If it's behind the bed, you can recite the Shema. Lefnei amita eina kaira. In front of the bed, you can't recite the Shema. Okay. Now, aval marchaku arba amas v'kaira, but you distance yourself 4 amas and you recite the Shema. That statement, aval marchaku arba amas v'kaira, you see, here's a problem. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel said 2 statements. Behind the bed, you can recite the Shema. If the urine is in front of the bed, you can't recite the Shema. And then he has a qualification that he distanced himself 4 amas. Is that talking about a qualification for in front of the bed? Or is it going to talking about a qualification for behind the bed? Where we said you can recite the Shema.
What is the difference
behind the bed means that the bed is like a mechitza between the urine and you, and it's like in a different place. I'm fine.
But I mean, was there a, what do you call it? What's the thing called? Headrest. That therefore was like a mechitza.
That we're going to see.
Because the bed itself is
well, it's considered a separation. Let's see. It depends on how we learn this. If the 4 amas is referring to when it's behind the bed, then it will be a different story. Okay, now that was Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel is the father of Rabbi Danasi. Reb Shimon ben Elazar, Reb Shimon ben Elazar is a student of Reb Meir. He says, "Afilu Bais, meya ama leyakrad sheitziyam ha'etshenichim tachsamita." If there's a house that's 100 cubits, and in that house, anywhere, Bais means a room, not a house. A room that it's 100 cubits, and in that house is urine. You can't recite the Shema anywhere in that room. This opinion holds that any room is considered like within 4 cubits, no matter how big it is. Right? The opinions that allow you to walk without washing your hands in the morning, even though you shouldn't walk 4 cubits, they rely on the house being, or the whole room is 4 cubits. That's what they hold. That would be based on this sort of opinion. So, Ibaylahu, I'm not recommending those leniencies. That would be the logic of it. Ibaylahu, they asked the question. Echi Kama Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. I'm adding that in based on the Bach. But what does Reb Shimon ben Gamliel mean? Achar Hamita Kaire Miyad. If it's behind the bed, you can recite immediately. It means right away, right behind the bed, and you're right in front of the bed. You can recite the Shema. But lifnei amita marchik amas v'kaira. But if it's in front of the bed, then you have to distance 4 amas, and then you can recite the Shema. Idel more maybe. Hachikamer. He's saying the following: La'achar amita marchik dalet amas v'kaira. If it's behind the bed, you need 4 cubits. V'kaira. Lifnei amita in a kaira klal. But if it's in front of the bed, you can't recite it at all. Where's that qualification going on? Is it going on the 4 cubits qualification. Is it going on when you're allowed to recite it, when it's behind the bed, that you also need 4 cubits? Or is it going on that where you're not allowed to recite it in front of the bed, 4 cubits would make you allowed? So Tashma, come and listen. The Tanya was starting in the Brisa. Reb Shimon ben Elazar says you can recite it immediately if it's behind the bed, but in front of the bed, 4 cubits would do it. Okay. Now, so far, it seems like we have an answer, but if you look very closely, you'll notice that we just messed up the names here. We said, before we were discussing the opinion of Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, and now we're discussing the opinion of Reb Shimon ben Elazar, and that doesn't, that's a little shift. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, Shimon ben Gamliel says, Afilu Bais, Meya Ama, even if the room is 100 Amas, you have to take it out or you have to put it under the bed. We'll learn about under the bed in a minute. The Gemara explains that Bayan of Shitalan, you've answered the question. However, Masnaisa Kashin Adadi, but the contradiction between the Brises. You've posed the contradiction between the Brises because the names are just switched here. Where Reb Shimon ben Gamliel before said that there's a difference between behind the bed and in front of the bed. Now you said that that's the opinion of Reb Shimon ben Elazar. And Reb Shimon ben Elazar before said that a room is considered 4 cubits, even if it's 100 cubits big. And now you said that that's the opinion of Reb Shimon ben Gamliel. So maybe the Reb Shimons are the same, but the one is ben Gamliel, one is ben, same thing. It's right, it's different people. So the Gemara says, Eipach Basraisa, turn around the second brisa that you quoted, just switch it around and then we're all set. The Gemara says, My chaz is Eipach Basraisa. How do you know that what are you seeing to switch around the second one? Eipach Kamaisa, maybe switch around the first one. In other words, where's Reb Shimon ben Gamliel gonna come in? I think we have a statement, Kol Makom Sheshana Reb Shimon ben Gamliel b'Mishnah Seino Halacha Kamaisa, right? It's me Arif Tzipin something, but this would not be a Mishnah. But the person that says it is important for the halacha. Gemara says, "Man shamet the Amar Kula Bais Ka'arba Amistami." Who holds that a whole house is considered 4 cubits? Reb Shimon ben Elazar. That's Reb Shimon ben Elazar. Okay, so that means you have to switch around the second one. Rashi says, "Lo yadati heichanu." Because the Gemara seems to know this from somewhere, that this is the opinion of Reb Shimon. Oh yeah, Reb Shimon ben Elazar always holds this. Rashi says we don't. And there's a spectacular Reb Kiveger on the bottom. Rashi, the Ramas Man Shamatle, Layadati. You see what he does over there? He goes through, I guess, the whole Shas. All the places where Rashi says he doesn't know where the source is. Isn't that incredible? You see this? You have to have it. You have to have it. It's Gilyon Hashas. Your Gemara is only better. It's not any worse. It's only better. Your Gemara.
No, I thought that was on the side.
Yeah, it's okay. They switched the place. There's another Rabbi Kiveger in Shabbos where he does a similar thing. You see that? You could click. That's the hyperlink. That's great. That's an advertisement for the Shas. That was easy. I was like, oh, and then which reception am I going to go get? Pull the whole thing. Kiveger does this in Shabbos, where he goes through the whole Shas, showing you where we have psukim that are different than the Messiah. That's in Shabbos and Hay also. So
Where is that?
Shabbos Daf and Hay. He goes through it. That's a very interesting piece. Okay, here we're holding right now Amar of Yosef. It's about 10 lines up from the bottom. Rabbi Yosef says, they asked from Rav Huna, if there is urine under a bed, and the bed is close to the ground, so it's close to the ground within 3 tefachim, within 3 handbreadths, so that is considered closed. There's a rule that 3 tefachim is considered closed, considered sealed. In different areas, in building and different things, with mechitza,
by the wall of a sukkah.
Wall of a sukkah, you use lava. So here it would be considered that it's closed off. Shleisha Arba, Chamisha, Shisha, Shiva, Shemaina, Tisha. That could have been a hyphen. 3 to 9. Mahu. What's the din over there? Is it considered closed as well if you put urine under the bed? Amalei la yadana. The Gemara says, I don't know. The Gemara says, Asara vade lemi Eily. Rabbi Yosef is saying. He says, Asara, when it comes to 10, that I'm not asking. 10 tvach I'm not asking. Because then what would that would mean is that if I have the urine is on the bottom and the bed is 10 tvachim, I would say that the bed is in a different area. And that's not covering the urine. If it's down here, within 3 tvachim, then it's for sure covering. If it's somewhere in the middle, we'll say, well, it's sort of covering. We don't know exactly. But if it's 10 tvachim high and the urine is that this bed is too high to be considered a cover for someone has his yarmulke because the house has a dome. You follow? Yeah.
Say that?
Good. We used to think that a lot of the conservative temples, there's a dome on the.
Yes.
Because the people don't wear yarmulkes, so that's a yarmulke for all
But
of them.
aren't there some Sfardim or from somewhere people who wouldn't wear a kippah in their house because they felt when they were in the house it was considered a cover?
Could be. I don't know. But that wouldn't have to do with
No, but
the 10
I'm
tvachim.
just saying.
Okay, so Amar Abaya responds. Abaya is a student of Rabbi Yosef. He says, "Shaper Avdus Delay Bailach." It's good that you didn't ask about 10, because Kol Asar Shusachriti. It's a different domain. Amar Rava says, "Hilchasa the halacha is pachas mishleisha kalavadam." If it's under 3, I hear you. So if it's under 3, it's considered attached. Asar Shusachriti. If it's over 10, it's a different domain. Mishleisha ad Asara. Now it hyphenates it. It's from 3 to 10. So Haina the Baimine Rav Yosef Marapuna, but like Pashatle, that was Rav Yosef's question from Rapuna, and he did not answer. Amar Rav says halacha korruption ben alaza, the halacha is like korruption ben alaza, which means that the whole house is considered 4 cubits, the whole room is considered 4 cubits, and any urine in the house, in the room, even if it's 100 cubits away, it's still, you can't recite the Shema there, if it's in the same room. In the same room. It's all like condensed into 4. That's how we do it. V'chein Amar Bali we had once before. Amar Rav Yaakov Braid the Bas Shmuel. You see this? Remember we spoke about Shmuel's daughter? So this is Rabbi Yaakov, the son of Shmuel's daughter. We had
Same daughter?
I don't know if it's Rachel. That's what we said, right? Mari bar Rachel. Rachel was married to Isser.
Sure.
Right? Anyway, could be there were 2 daughters. Halacha korruption ben alaza. He says that halacha is like korruption ben alaza. Rabbi Amar ain't halacha korruption ben alaza. Okay, we thought we had some conclusion there. Rabbi says halacha is not like korruption ben alaza. Rabbi Acha yasikle lebrei. I didn't get a chance to look this up. Rabbi Acha is preparing a wedding for his son, Bei Rabbi Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Marta, to the daughter. The house of daughter of Rabbi Yitzchak, the son of Shmuel, the son of Marta. So that's the shidduch. It's the son of Rav Achai, and with the daughter of Rabbi Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Marta. Eily l'chuppah. They brought him into the room. Chuppah is the canopy, but over here it means the bedroom. He wasn't able to consummate the marriage. Doesn't give details here. And it says, Azal Basrai Leuni. He goes into the room to see what's happening there. Because the Sefer Torah, the manchi sees that there's a Sefer Torah in the room. Amalahu, he says to them, Eiku, if now, Hashtalei Asoy, if I didn't come now, Sakantan Labri, you would have put my son in danger. The Tanya, because it was taught in a Brisa, Bayashesh Be Sefer Torah, if the room has a Sefer Torah, tefillin, also shamish beis miti. You can't have relations in that room. Until you remove it from the room, or you put it in a vessel inside another vessel. Amar Abaya says, "Leishanu ela b'keli sheina kelyan." When we say a vessel, it needs to be the vessel that's not the vessel that's made for it. Aval keli shu kelyan. But if it's that vessel is made for it, even 10 vessels, mani means a vessel, is like one vessel. It's all considered the same. So, like, just imagine those dolls, one in another. So if you had like a bunch of tefillin covers and another one on another, the tefillin covers, so you put them on, so you have a large one, a large one, a large one. It's all considered one vessel. You need one plastic bag on the top of all of them to resolve the.
That one in Shiva houses where when they have for a Sefer Torah, but they don't have an Oren, you just see a cover with towels. Is that solving the problem?
I'm not sure. That may be just like a sort of mechitza set.
Well, that's what I always thought, but doesn't it technically solve the problem? It's covered.
We're going to see in a moment. It's not going to solve the problem. What we just said here, just wait 1 moment. We'll see. What we just said here was that Rabbi was concerned that his son would get punished because of violating the law. He said, you would have put my son in danger because you had a Sefer Torah in the bedroom. Amar Rava, we're about to go to the top of the page. Amar Rava, Glima Akamatra. Akamatra is a chest or a box. If you put a cloak, a garment, over a chest, that means that the Sefer Torah is inside a chest, and you cover the chest with a small, like a cloak, some sort of garment. That's considered like a vessel inside a vessel. Now, what that would mean is that even though you think that's the chiddush?
Can you repeat louder?
In that Jen is saying that Caleb is Kaylee, that the second thing needs to be covering the first thing.
Yeah.
But here it's just something that's on top of the box, not covering the box.
That's the magic seed.
Wait, because Oren Kaddish, the kaparis in the front, Brachos, whatever it's called, it's just covering.
I don't know if that's gonna help. That's also not gonna help. You'll see in a moment. I was learning this, that the box may be made for it, and the garment is not made for it. So the one box that's made for it is okay as long as there's another box, because you need two covering. The second one, if the second one isn't, they don't both need to be not made for it. One of them needs to be not made for it, and one of them could be made for it. This is a chest that's made for Svarim or whatever. But that also may be correct. And it may be both. Okay, Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Rabbi Shua ben Levi says, first generation Amira, unless we consider his father, Levi, the student of Rabbi and Amira. It says, Sefer Torah tzarech lasle mechitza asara. It's not enough. If you're dealing with the Sefer Torah, you need to have a partition, not just a box in a box, not just a talus and another thing. It needs to be a mechitza. Mar Zutra kloi lebei Rav Ashi. Mar Zutra went to the house of Rav Ashi. Chazi leduchte de mar bar Rav Ashi. The manach be Sefer Torah. Lavadei mechitza asara. He saw the place of the bed of Mar bar Rav Ashi. That's Rav Ashi's son, and he saw that there was a mechitza. There was a Sefer Torah there, and there was a mechitza. Amalei kaman Rabbi Shua ben Levi. You're going like Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Hey, Madam Rabbi Shua ben Levi, less be Bais Achrina. Maybe Rabbi Shua ben Levi only admitted that if there is no other room to put the Sefer Torah in. Mar, you have another room you can put it in. He says, you're right. I didn't think of that. Okay. How much should you distance yourself from them and from feces?
Wait, so what is the final ruling with the Sefer Torah in the house?
It needs to have a mechitza.
Besides being,
that's if the house was only one room, and if there's another room, then it's supposed to be in a different room. Taisvus over here mentions that this is only by a Sefer Torah, and if there would be a chumash also. Chumash means, according to Taisvus, would mean a scroll that only had Brachos in it, or only Shemais in it. But with our Svarim, it's just enough to cover it. That's what Bais says. Okay, the Daf Yomi is not Allah.
Oh,
How much should you distance yourself from that smelly water? From excrement, it says 4 amas. Amarav, Schleir, Amarav Huna. Say in the name of Rav Huna Leishanu Ala Lachrav. This, Naftali, this is what you're mentioning. That's only 4 cubits if the tzaya would be behind the person, he's not facing it. Avalafanav, but if it's right in front of him, Marchik Malayenav, then he shouldn't even be seeing it. And the same thing applies to tefillah. I saw one of the comments said that that's rather obvious. Okay. Eily, is that so? Rafram Bar Papa, Amrav Chisda. Rafram Bar Papa says in the name of Rav Chisda, a person is allowed to stand in front of a bathroom. Let's assume that there's no walls around the bathroom. Let's say it was a bathroom, an open bathroom. He's allowed to stand there and he can daven. He said that if it's in front of him, he's not even allowed to see it. Okay, you have an answer. Talking about it's an empty bathroom. There's no, it's not perfectly clean. Eily, Rav Yosef Bar Chanina, Rav Yosef Bar Chanina probably. Yeah, Rav Yosef Bar Chanina. When we said the bathroom, even if there's no feces in it, still you can't daven there. In a bathhouse, even if there's no one in there that's using it, you can't daven there. So what did we mean that you're allowed to daven in the name of Rav Chisda? You're allowed to daven in front of a bathroom? That's because the bathroom is brand new. It's new construction. But there was a question. If the Beis HaKisi is designated, do we say that that's considered that it's already a bathroom, the designation itself? Gemara says, that question had to do with davening inside. However, but outside it, that's not a problem. Okay, so that's the answer for Rav Chisda. How do you say that he's allowed to daven in front of a bathroom? That's because the bathroom was brand new, was never used, there's nothing in it, and that's fine. Amarava, Hani Bate Kisoi de Parsoi. These Persian bathrooms. Now, apparently, they would dig diagonally down so that after do their needs, it would roll down to a different area. So, Afalgav the Isbeit Tzaya, even though there is Tzaya in there, but Stumendam because it rolls away. It rolls away. So, there is a discussion. The discussion of our bathrooms would be based on this Gemara. This is the most similar to what we have.
There are ecological bathroom toilets that are like that. Just roll down and it gets too hot. There's no water.
And then how would they empty it?
It stays there for years.
And then it just dries up.
Yeah, then it's fertilizer.
Yeah.
It's like no drain field.
Right, they use water.
Decompose into the ground. Septic tank will never. It's going to stay in the cement.
Yeah, I believe though that it would have been that human waste. I believe that after a year is not a. Yes, don't try this at home. But
Surely not your septic.
Right. But that's what I believe. That's a farmer told me this.
Love to see that conversation.
Because they put all the goat stuff in the compost, all of they shovel it out. It's in the cow. It's all in the compost. Right. But human waste, you can't do that. But after a year, anyway, whatever. New Mishnah. This is a Mishnah we quoted before when we were discussing the use of a mikvah. We said that Ezra instituted that someone that's a Balkari, someone that had a mission, either because it was with his wife or he had relations for whatever reason, so he has to use the mikvah before he davens and before he studies Torah. There's a whole discussion in a few pages about this. What if a person is tummy beforehand? is a zav, much more serious tumah than a balkari. But there's no institution that a zav needs to use the mikveh before he studies Torah. So he's a zav. Going to the mikveh is not going to help him right now. He has to wait 7 days. And he's raw carry. And then he has the submission. So you should really use the mikveh, but the mikveh is not going to help. The nida shepalta shechvasera, or a woman that's a nida, but she had relations before with her husband, and possible that she went to the mikveh because of the relations. Now she becomes a nida, and after she's a nida, the zera comes out. It takes 3 days. For 3 days, it's viable. So, or a woman that has relations that became a nida. This third case is very different than the other ones. The other ones was a more serious tumah before the minor tumah of carry. Here, mishameshes means she would need the mikveh because of carry, and now she becomes more serious tumah. Okay, so the tzrich and tefillah. This is what you taught. So tzrich and tefillah, these require tefillah even though the mikveh doesn't help fully. It's comparable to like us saying, we go to the mikveh. Why are you going to the mikveh? Everyone was in a cemetery, you don't have the paraduma. So as well, we're going to the mikveh for other things, even though with that serious tumah we're never getting rid of. So here we're saying that you have to go to the mikveh for carry, even though those serious tumahs are not going away. Rabbi Yehuda says he's exempt. Ibaylu, Gemara's a question. Bal carry shira ziva. Let's take it the opposite. If the person's a bal carry first, then he becomes a zav. The Rabbi Yehuda according to Rabbi Yehuda, that said he's exempt if he's a zav, and then he becomes a balkari. Kipa to Rabbi Yehuda Hasan bezav shurat carry the mikar la bartfilo. Before you started, you couldn't go to the mikvah. Abba balkari shurat ziva, but a balkari that required the mikvah before he became a zav. But it's going to go away now. So the mikar bartfilo mechayev, you should be chayev. Dilmar, maybe leishna, or maybe the fact is the mikvah doesn't work. Tashima kamalishna namashameshes for us in need a woman has relations, and then she becomes a nida. So tzricha tefillah Rabbi Yehuda Paiter. Rabbi Yehuda exempts this woman, even though originally she required the mikveh. In the order of things, the relations is considered the balkari. That means first there was that obligation to use the mikveh, and afterwards there was the more serious tumah that's not going to go away with the mikveh. Rabbi Yehuda says he's exempt. Why? Because the mikveh doesn't work. Shema mina. That Rabbi Yehuda would exempt even in a case where a person was balkari first. Tani Rabbi Yehuda taught this outright. That means clearly. Rabbi Yehuda organized the Bais. Balkari shira ziva tzarich tefillah Rabbi Yehuda paiter. Balkari that becomes a zav requires tefillah according to the Tanakam, and Rabbi Yehuda exempts. Hajjala Yishamesu another Shmaya. Okay, there's a new parak here. I'm not so sure. Tefillah Shachat Chatzais. Davening goes until Shachris goes until noon. That's the opinion of the Tanakama. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer Adal Chais. Rabbi Yehuda says you only have 4 hours of the day. That's called Zman Tefillah. Zman Tefillah is a third of the day. It's 4 hours, starting from when? Either sunrise or dawn. I guess sunrise. Tefillah Mincha Ada Erev. That would Mincha goes until nighttime.
Hot fresh.
Sorry,
Rabbi Yehuda Imrad Plaga Mincha. Rabbi Yehuda says that you only have until Plaga Mincha, which is half of Mincha. The word Plag means half, and we'll see which half and how that works. The Gemara is going to discuss it. So it's pretty close to nighttime. An hour and a quarter before. Tefillah Se'erev Ein Lakeva. The Ma'ariv has no set time. You have the whole night. We'll see. B'Shel Musafim Kol Hayom Musaf, you can daven the whole day. Rabbi Yehuda Imrad Zayin Choice. Some don't have that in there here. So, okay. The Gemara asks like this. You mentioned that Shachris is either. We're not talking about Kriyash, we're talking about Shemini Esrei. But we said that Shachris goes until Chatzos or until 4 hours in the day. But Ramino, there's a contradiction. We say mitzvah the mitzvah of reciting Shema is together with the sunrise. Why? So that you should be able to say Shemini Esrei right after sunrise. You daven by day. Why are you telling me it's until Chatzos or until 4 hours? It's right by sunrise. The Gemara says That Bais is talking about those pious people that daven right away by the nates. But our Mishnah is talking about what the halacha is for everyone else, the rest of the people. Okay, that's what the time limit is for them. Rabbi Yochanan says that these pious people will finish the Shema. Seisman Krishma is 3 hours into the day.
So the latest the non-pious people can do is 3 hours into the day. And here he's saying chatzais for chakras. So you're going to have a 3-hour break, potentially.
Or you just not doing Shema.
No. Even if you're not a pious person, quote unquote,
What's the problem?
you're going to have a 3-hour break. The
So if you
latest
say
you can say
Shema-
Shema is 9:30. But you can daven chakras or Shemon Esrei till midnight. So then you're going to have a 3-hour break.
Yeah, but you could say your
Yeah.
early Shema would call
Yeah.
No, but the whole point that
Three
you weren't
martini
asking
lunch.
now is we learned earlier.
The Gemara asks like this.
3 martini lunch.
I hear
3 martini lunch.
you're gonna what your question is that you're gonna have a problem of that you're not being sent with tefillah.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
The answer to Gemara's answer is not doesn't satisfy the answer. That's not a problem.
Well, then you have to view the question as a very specific question. Is it Neitzachama, the Zman for tefillah, or is it Chatzais? And the answer is, if really it's Chatzais or Dalet Shais, depending on the opinion, that was just a stricter group of people that would do this. And that's the whole question. The same tefillah part is the Gemara wasn't discussing. The Kuli Almat Chatzais v'Sulai. Everyone else, you only have until Chatzais to daven. This is what you wanted to say. You only have until Chatzais to daven. V'amar Rav Mari Breider Rav Huna Breider Rav Yirmiyah Barabba Amar Rav Yechanan. Rav Yirmiyah Barabba says the name of Rav Huna, son of Rav Yirmiyah Barabba, says the name of Rav Yechanan.
Why did they quote so far as opposed to just the regular?
Quote the first person.
Yeah, we don't.
Quote the first person. No, yeah, every person.
Every person's
Big
quoting
Google.
Ta v'leias balarvis. Someone had a mistake by accident. He missed davening Ma'ariv. Spal Shachris time, he can daven Shachris twice. Shachris. Let's say he missed davening Shachris. He had a mistake. Postponed. He missed it. Maybe he slept. So Mispalo b'mincha shtayim. He davens mincha twice. Kula yaima. Okay, so that's a question. Question is, apparently, you have time after Chatzais to daven Shachris. Because you can daven mincha twice. One of them would be Shachris. Why do you say Shachris only goes until Chatzais? What happens if you miss Shachris? You say it after Chatzais. You say mincha twice. And one of them is a Shachris. The Gemara says, the whole day you can daven. However, at Chatzais, you have a l'schai tefillah bizmana. He wants to get the reward for davening in the right time. That has to be before Chatzais. He gets the reward for davening, but schai tefillah bizmana liyavlei, but doesn't get the reward for davening on time. You get 2 points, right? You get one ticket for coming on time, and one for just coming.
That's no Mishnah.
This much.
No, I'm saying in the Brachos, the Mishnah talks about saying if you say it late, you don't get the saying it none for saying it.
Right. No, this is it. Yibaylo
The Rebbe would do Mincha Ma'ariv often,
later.
way after the day.
Yeah.
Whether that's coming up.
Yibaylo, they have a question to Avalei V'Spal Mincha. If a person missed Mincha Mahu, she is Spal Arbis Beis. Should he daven Ma'ariv twice? We didn't say this in the Brisa. We said if you miss Ma'ariv, you daven Shachris. If you miss Shachris, you daven Mincha twice. What about Mincha? Do you daven Ma'ariv? It's a different day. Maybe Ma'ariv, you can daven Shachris twice because Ma'ariv and Shachris is the same day. Evening, morning, one day. Same day. But over here, if davening is in place of the sacrifice, the day's over, can't do it again. Or maybe davening is compassion from Hashem. You can make it up. Tashima, come and listen. You say in the name of Rabbi Yechanan, if someone is mistaken by accident, he is allowed to daven Ma'ariv twice. You have a clear statement from Rabbi Yochanan that this is allowed. Okay, there's a lot going on here, but I don't want to take the time. Very interesting Taisusin about Tchilas Arvis Rishus, and the time for Musaf, the time for Mincha, the correct time, and also if someone misses Musaf. That's all interesting things that are in these Taisusin. Meisvei, Gemara's a question. A mistake that cannot be made up.
Well, you
Cannot be
can't,
fixed.
you can't make a testimony from this.
That's this Ibailu Taisus. Umuvas or a mistake. What's lacking that can't be counted. A mistake that can't be fixed. You can't make it up. That's a mistake that can't be made up. This goes against what we just said. And what's something that's lacking that can't be counted? All his friends are doing a mitzvah and he's not going along. He misses out. Right. So we have to answer the problem because we say that you can't make it up. It says, if on purpose you knew to daven and you don't daven, then you can't make it up. It's only if it was an accident. That's why we kept saying the word ta, mistaken. Ravashi, they can make tani batal, bittel, like tani ta. Over here it says bittel, kriya shema shalai, bittel tefillah, right? Shema mina. You see from there that it's only if it's a mistake. Tana rabbanon, we're on top of the page. Start on the Bais tov, leispal mincha be'erev Shabbos. Incredible. He forgets mincha. Erev Shabbos. So mispal b'al Shabbos shtayim. He davens 2 Shmoneh Esrei on Shabbos. 2 Shabbos Shmoneh Esrei.
Maybe you should do it on purpose.
No.
To get an extra.
That's just when that's,
You can't do it.
Yeah.
You go to sleep.
Tov leispal mincha b'Shabbos.
That's a mistake.
That could be in.
If you fell asleep.
If you fell asleep, he's suggesting you go to sleep and then you'll be
Well,
asleep.
if you're
And then,
going to sleep, the mom is
and that
amazing.
it sounds like amazing. If someone's mistaken, he doesn't daven mincha on Shabbos. He took an Shabbos afternoon nap and he missed mincha. So mispal b'mitzvah Shabbos shtayim shalchol. He says 2 weekday Shmoneh Esrei per Ma'ariv. When does he say atachein antanu? So mabdul b'rishayna ve'ena mabdul b'shniya. He says havdalah in the first one, not in the second one. V'im b'shniya. I don't want to get into the explanation yet because the Gemara is going to challenge everything here. If he does say havdalah in the second one, but he doesn't say atachein antanu, the havdalah that we say in the Ma'ariv of Mitzvah Shabbos, he doesn't say it in the first one when he's supposed to. So then Shniya also only the second one where he said the Atachein Antanu works. Shniya also the first one doesn't work. The Gemara says he's saying if he doesn't say Atachein Antanu, it's like he didn't daven. And he has to daven again. But I'll show you there's a contradiction to this. If someone doesn't say Merid Ageshem in the second Brachos of Shmoneh Esrei, which finishes Mechai Mesim, right? It doesn't say the same Talamater in Baruch Aleinu Machzir Nois. You have to repeat the Shmoneh Esrei. Abdallah B'chein and Nadas ain't Machzir Nois. He doesn't say Atachein Antanu, which is in Ma'ariv Motzei Shabbos. You say in Atachein, you don't go back. Because Abdallah you can say over a cup of wine. Gemara says Kasha. A strong question. Because it doesn't say to Yiftadah. The halacha goes like that. And there's a beautiful Taisus over here that talks about if someone forgets Yalav Yavai on Rosh Chodesh, and by Mincha, he has to repeat Shmoneh Esrei. But he doesn't remember until Ma'ariv. And what's he going to do? Repeat Ma'ariv again without Yalav Yavai. Because it's not Rosh Chodesh anymore. Should he do that? Taisus quotes Mach like this between Rabbeinu Yehuda and the Rif and others. Okay. Itmar. And the same as would be on, he compares this to Shabbos. Because we just said that if you didn't daven on a weekday, you have to daven Shabbos twice.
But it's a little different. Because the whole reason why you're davening is because you forgot the essential point of the Aviyah, but now that it's after Rosh Chodesh, you don't have that obligation.
That's exactly.
Also, by the way, in the Kasha part, you're saying it's not, I don't understand why it's a Kasha. The answer would be that since the first Shmoneh Esrei is supposed to be the one for the one at
Oh,
this time.
that's Rabbi going. That's the way it's explained. That's the way they explain it. I didn't get into it. I left it up. It's smart. This is it was stated. I guess I should stop here. I don't want to rush it.
For a block and a half.
Really?
I'm not behind. I'm sorry.
Right here.
You gotta catch up.
Let's wait for those short pages.
No, I know 4 pages of Brachos. Sometimes it's really questions. I know where a lot and a half lines.
Rabbi Doctor.